Hello and welcome to another edition of Son of Kaiju Review. I'm Protomet.
I'm Tank.
And welcome to another edition of the Protomet Sleep Collection. Giant monster movies that are so dull they put you to sleep.
It happened again, folks. But he woke up to see the ending.
But it wasn't just me.
No.
So, today we'll be taking a look at the X from Outer Space, or Giant Space Monster Gilala. This movie is boring. I have put it on multiple times to help me get to sleep, and I usually wind up falling asleep well before Gilala actually shows up.
Gilala shows up so damn late, though.
Halfway through the movie. Which is still better than King Dinosaur.
Yeah. That shows up at the end of the movie. Watch our review of that, because I think that was a Kaiju review.
Yep.
So the movie starts off with a helicopter coming in and getting, stuff for space, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of plot details that go literally nowhere and have no actual significance.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into all the details. We'll just rush through stuff. A bunch of people get on this new spaceship to go to Mars to try and figure out why a bunch of other spaceships that went to Mars never made it back.
Yep. And apparently...
You'd think they would have stopped after 2 or 3 times. But no, this is like the 4th or 5th or whatever attempt.
Yeah.
The only difference between then and now is this time they've got a new spaceship. I guess they were using a second-hand spaceship before.
Wait, did the spaceship come back and not the crew?
No, they lost communication because they encountered UFOs, which this spaceship does.
The UFO apparently damages something on the ship, and they have to land on
the moon base, which is where the captain's girlfriend maybe,
girlfriend, lover, whatever,
woman who has a crush on the captain. She's there. They say some stuff. The doctor that they brought with him is sick. That's another reason why they had to make an emergency landing.
Yeah.
He gets taken off, and the doctor of the moon base, who is supposed to be going on vacation soon, gets sent in to replace it, much to his frustration.
It's actually kind of funny when they find out you're going to be replacing him on the ship. I refuse!
I refuse!
Then they take off on the ship, and he's there whining and complaining.
As you do.
Yeah, because he's going up against his will, technically.
And that's kind of the extent of it. At one point, he freaks out and says, we should head back. And yada.
Yeah.
Because then they encounter the UFO.
Yeah, then the UFO goes away, but they notice like an asteroid with some type of glowing substances on it.
So they go on and collect a sample and then take it all back to Earth.
Yep.
It's at this point that Dr. Stein, the doctor from the moon base, completely disappears from the movie.
He does.
He and the original head doctor have nothing to do with the rest of this movie.
No.
Making us wonder what the whole point of getting the doctor sick and having him being replaced contributed to the movie.
Well, he ended up finally going back and going out on his date. We didn't see that footage, but he did, probably.
He went on vacation with his wife. And then everybody goes to a party, and one of the guys gets a phone call saying that the lab that they left the sample they collected in was ransacked off screen.
Yeah, and they go back to the base where they had the thing, and there's like
a giant chicken footprint,
and
in the metal floor, and they This one guy, he has the brilliant idea of grabbing a random beaker with some red liquid and just pour it into the into the footprint.
That could have been like acid or like something a bad chemical of some sort. Scientific.
I'm still trying to figure out why he even poured it in there, other than to just give a clearer outline of the footprint. Because what?
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't take them very long to find out that it's a giant monster that hatched from a spore.
Yep.
And we're already halfway through the movie.
Mm-hmm. See, there's so much unneeded plot in this movie. It's like the plot is dull. It's like until you get Kalala, and it's even his scenes are kind of dull. This movie is not very good.
Yeah, even after Galala showed up. Actually, I would even go as far as saying after Galala showed up, we got even more tired of watching the movie.
Yeah, because they go to his rampage, then all of a sudden to the scientist people, and then
they investigate the remains of the spore, and it's like, oh, this is some substance called galalium. We can't synthesize it here, but maybe we can synthesize it on the moon base and use it as a weapon against Galala. So then they go up into space.
Okay. By the way, literally, this is our second time
we had to watch this movie twice in as many days, because the first time we were admittedly not really paying attention.
Well, we haven't seen each other for a while, so we need to catch up, and the movie was dull enough that we just didn't care.
So then we would occasionally glance up at the screen and was like, wait, why are they back in space? And then a little bit later, we'd look up again and was like, oh, wait, why are they back on Earth? When did they get back on Earth? Yeah, you really got to pay attention to follow this movie.
You got to.
Which is hard because it keeps wanting to put you to sleep.
Literally just a few moments ago, Protobit did fall back asleep. And that's probably a good reason why he watches it, or listens to it technically, to fall asleep while he's trying to go to sleep.
Anyway, they get to the moon base, they synthesize the galalium, they start heading back to Earth. Turns out the galalium is what's been causing their spaceships to have wonky controls, so they put it in like the reactor's shielding.
Yeah.
Then bring it to Earth.
Then they put them in missiles. Galala's on a rampage.
He attacks a building they're in. Peggy O'Neill gets pinned under it and sounds like a man.
Looks like screaming her pain.
And then moments afterwards, she's walking around with just a bandage on her leg.
So, simple enough. A normal person would, if something that heavy that landed on their leg would probably break the bone, maybe tear the ligament or something. You are not standing up proper or walking at any point of that.
Especially if you're going to be screaming like she was.
Like bloody murder.
That's an accurate portrayal of her screaming.
Stop. They're going to turn off the podcast.
But then, like, moments later, after just getting a makeshift bandage after being freed, she's up and she's pretty much up and about and walking on her own.
Yep.
Like this guy who jumped out of a moving vehicle a little later in the movie and takes a bit of a tumble. He looks worse off than this person who is literally pinned under a nuclear fuel source container.
And
that required several people with long beams of wood to pry it off of them.
Even failing sometimes and getting up where she could possibly end up falling back on top of her. Once again, broken bones. Unless she drinks a lot of fucking milk.
I swear, Peggy Neal's character in this movie just... the dubbing for her is horrendous.
Very, very bad.
She speaks in broken English for some reason, so making it at times difficult to understand what she's trying to say. And she's an American actress, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Like, the dubbing over her kind of sounds like how they would dub like an American person in a Japanese movie.
Yeah. Like the kind of broken Japanese, but in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. Just like...
It feels so off kilter to have one of the token European ethnicity characters not speaking fluent English.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
They managed to, I guess, lure Gilala away with the nuclear fuel source because at one point it attacked a nuclear power plant to recharge its energy or something.
Mm-hmm. And then they use spaceships to shoot the missiles that have the Gamezillong or whatever.
Well, they use jets to shoot gallium all over Gilala, causing it to go back down to a spore-like form, and then they just send it up into space while everybody else still is on Earth and just like, oh, I wonder where Gilala's going. Why do you care? It killed like thousands of people off screen. Like, I was like, geez, 2 whole cities get wiped out in the course of this movie off screen, while all the human characters in this movie are off doing other stuff in space.
In space.
And my chief question here is, where's the public outcry over what the government's doing about the problem? Because
Galala destroyed the public building. I mean, not
you destroyed the public, apparently. There's no civilians left.
Besides the scientists that were on the moon base.
Like, it strains credibility. And the thing is, this is kind of a weirdly reverse situation of The Giant Claw.
Yes.
The Giant Claw is a movie where all the actors in it are taking it super seriously, but then when you see the monster, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And admittedly, the actors in this movie are taking things seriously, but it's so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And while Gilala is kind of dumb looking, I like his design.
Yeah.
I like his design. It looks fine. It looks like a show era monster.
Yeah. They all had that weird flappy look
I would definitely say that later 70s Ultra shows, those had arguably worse monster costumes.
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty. We've seen plenty. Just like, and well, there was that one series where all the costumes were super expensive and they literally push each other.
But that was in the 90s, so that's Heisei. Doesn't count. That's neither here nor there. But.
So we're talking about the Showa?
Yeah, I mean, this movie came out in the Showa period.
So apparently there was a weird love interest situation.
Some weird love triangle thing that really doesn't...
It didn't go anywhere.
It just kind of seems to have been brought up early in the movie and doesn't really get brought back up until the very end of the movie, at which point it's resolved.
Yep.
It was like, okay, whatever.
Yep. Didn't really need that. See, that plot. We didn't need that plot then.
We didn't need the doctor getting sick and being replaced with a whiny bitch.
Yeah, we didn't need that.
The UFO... We didn't need the UFOs. What were the UFO...
So, wait. Was the UFOs the thing that took out the original ships that went up to try to get to Mars?
That's the assumption?
Or did some weird stuff get off the Galala thing and the Galala destroyed the ships? I don't know.
Yeah, this movie raises a bunch of questions and never bothers to answer them. And I can only assume that at the conclusion of this movie, the space agency has decided to stop any further attempts to colonize Mars.
Yep.
Or even get anywhere near it, because...
UFOs! Apparently.
It's like, the UFOs are just there.
Yeah.
There's no explanation for what they are.
It just chases them.
It chases them for a bit. until they find the Galala spore, and then like Dr. Stein and the first Doctor are removed from the rest of the movie, never to be heard from again. It's like, God damn it.
I have to say, this ain't that good of a movie.
Oh God, no! There's a reason why I kept watching it to put me to sleep. I'm curious as to why I stopped at this point.
you had that Gamera movie, and then also Son of Godzilla.
I mean, those were there, yes.
Stay tuned for a future countdown of Proto-Med's sleeping movies.
It's a curated collection of my sleeping collection.
He gets 10 minutes into the...
Pull that as an April Fool's Day joke, but instead of actually falling asleep, I just actually do it.
I don't know. Just filming you sleeping. Oh,
it was weird though, because yesterday, despite having gotten less sleep the night before, I was wide awake throughout the entire movie, and we were still not able to catch what was all going on.
We were talking about more interesting things.
That is fair. But then this time around, when we were specifically watching it to actually try and figure out what the plot was, especially during the second half of the movie, and that's when I actually start falling asleep.
I don't know. No worries. I don't think we need to watch this anymore.
I might. I still have sleep troubles.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna. If I had a choice, I would probably select something else to watch.
Galala later came back, decades later, in Monster X Strikes Back, Attack on the G8 Summit, which is a far better movie because it does not take itself seriously at all. It is an absolutely stupid movie, but like on purpose. It is definitely a parody movie, for absolute sure. And that's something we'll cover some other time.
Like Conga TNT. Have we discussed that one?
I think we briefly mentioned it in our
Conga
podcast earlier this year.
Oh.
So there is precedent for us bringing it up.
Yeah, I really don't have too much more to say.
Plot is not great. The acting is serviceable, but the dubbing is fine, except for Peggy Neal's voice actor. It's like that. It's like, okay, seems incredibly weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
Galala highlighted the movie.
Well, yeah. It's like when I put in like a kaiju film for my nephews to watch. They don't understand. It takes a while to get to the monster action. Well, unless we put in Skull Island and Kong's just there.
Right.
I mean, the build-up. We have to get used to... We have to get through this part first before we get to the good part. And I consider the human part interesting, but monsters. Oh, that's funny, though.
But yeah, no, aside from Galala, this movie is dumb.
Yeah.
I can't recommend this
movie.
No,
I can't.
Outside of being a sleep aid.
Yeah. Well, if, this is a big if you want to, go for it, but I don't recommend it.
And the weird thing is that this got the release we watched was through the Criterion Collection, which is, generally reserved for high quality, culturally relevant movies from around the world.
I don't see what culture this was.
It was part of the when horror came to Shoshiku collection, which featured 3 other movies that, to my knowledge, aren't kaiju movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and say it. Galala was the only good thing about this movie. This movie kind of sucked, though.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep. And like we said, his scenes weren't even that great.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Till next time.
Bye.
See ya.